My husband files for divorce, and my 7-year-old daughter turns to the judge. "May I show you something Mom doesn't know, Your Honor?" When the video played, the entire courtroom went silent. Can you imagine the betrayal? 1 minute, you're giving your life to your family, and the next, your husband slaps you with divorce papers, accusing you of being a failed mother, demanding everything you own, and even trying to steal your child. But what if a shocking twist came from the most unexpected person? A tiny voice that changed everything. "My name is Alara, and just a few months ago, my entire world was crumbling. It was Judgment Day in court. My husband, Marcus, had sued me for divorce, claiming I was this awful mother and wife. He wasn't just asking for a divorce. He wanted all our properties, every last penny, and most agonizingly, full custody of our 7-year-old daughter Luna. I was prepared for the worst, my heart a raw, open wound. But then, a small voice cut through the suffocating silence of the courtroom. It was Luna. "Your Honor," she piped up, her voice surprisingly clear. "Can I show you something my mommy doesn't know?" The judge, looking perplexed, nodded slowly. Luna stepped forward, holding up a cracked, old tablet, the very one I'd seen her clutching in her sleep. She pressed a button, and as the video flickered to life on the court monitors, everyone in that stuffy room froze. Before that day, our mornings had a painful rhythm. I, Alara, would be up at dawn, moving like a ghost through our once beautiful home, now a monument to my silent suffering. The aroma of breakfast would mix with the hum of the washing machine, a constant soundtrack to my efforts. I tiptoed, always careful not to disturb Marcus's peace. I'd learned over the years to become a shadow, hoping to avoid his temper, to maybe, just maybe, coax back the man I once loved. At 6 a.m. sharp, Marcus would descend the stairs, immaculate in his freshly pressed shirt. I'd have his steaming black coffee and breakfast plate ready, placed almost instinctively before he even sat down. He grabbed the mug, eyes glued to his phone, never even a glance my way. "The coffee's a little bitter today," he'd comment, his voice flat, devoid of emotion. I'd stammer, "I'm so sorry, honey, I thought I measured it right." He wouldn't reply. Just push the plate away, eat a few bites, and that dense, cold silence would settle between us again, thick enough to freeze the steam rising from his coffee. I couldn't even remember the last time we'd laughed over breakfast. It felt like years. "Is Luna up?" he'd ask, still not looking at me. "Yes, honey. She's showering. She'll be down soon," I'd reply, my voice barely above a whisper. Soon after, the patter of little feet would echo down the stairs. Luna, our bright-eyed 7-year-old, would rush in, her private school uniform neat, her smile a burst of sunshine in our perpetually gray mornings. "Good morning, Mommy and Daddy," she'd exclaim, kissing my cheek before turning to Marcus. He'd finally put down his phone, forcing a thin, almost pained smile. "Good morning, Princess. Finish your food. Daddy will take you to school." Luna's face would light up. "Wow, I'm going with Daddy." I'd let out a silent sigh of relief. At least for Luna, he made an effort. Those brief breakfast moments were the only family time we had left. As soon as Luna finished, Marcus would stand, grab his briefcase, kiss her forehead, and head for the door. He'd walk past me as if I were invisible. No goodbye. No kiss. Not even a glance. Just the roar of his luxury car pulling away, leaving me alone in the vast, empty house. My mornings would then resume their lonely routine, clearing the table, washing dishes, laundry, tidying every room. I moved with frantic efficiency, desperate to keep the house perfect. I genuinely believed that if the house was clean enough, if the food was delicious enough, if I was quiet enough, perhaps the old Marcus would return. But he was long gone. My favorite part of the day was picking Luna up from school. I cherished listening to her chatter about her friends, her art class, her lunchbox. "Mommy, I got 5 gold stars today," she'd chirp, holding my hand. "Wow, my daughter is so smart." I'd genuinely congratulate her, pinching her little nose. We arrived home, and as I helped Luna with her shoes, I heard a motorcycle pull up. "Alara, package for you." I frowned. I hadn't ordered anything. I walked to the door and received a large, thick brown envelope. No sender name, just the logo of a law firm. My heart began to pound a frantic rhythm. "Who is it, Mommy?" Luna asked, having followed me. I don't know, princess. Probably just junk mail. Go change, and then we'll have lunch, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. After Luna ran off, I collapsed onto the sofa, my hands trembling as I ripped open the envelope. Inside was a stack of papers. The first sentence hit me like a physical blow. Petition for dissolution of marriage. My world stopped. My ears rang. I reread the words, hoping my eyes had deceived me. Plaintiff Marcus. Defendant Ilera. Reason for suit. The wife has totally failed in the fulfillment of her marital duties. Nausea washed over me. Failed. I had dedicated my entire life to this house, given up my career at Marcus's request, raised Luna, made sure his shirts were spotless every morning. What did he mean? Failed. I scanned the cruel demands. Not just divorce, but full custody of Luna, claiming I was emotionally unstable and incapable of raising a child properly. And most devastatingly, he demanded all marital assets, including the house, arguing I hadn't contributed financially. I crumpled onto the cold hardwood floor, papers scattered around me. So this was why he'd been so cold. This had been a secret, meticulously planned scheme. The front door opened. Marcus, home unusually early. He stood there, looking at me, then at the scattered papers. His expression was utterly cold, devoid of guilt. Honey, what does this mean? My voice trembled, tears already welling. Marcus silently took off his shoes, walked over, loosening his tie. He didn't deny it, didn't explain. He simply said, his voice like ice, "It's exactly what you read, Ilera. I don't want to live with you anymore. You have failed. Failed as a wife and as a mother. Failed." I choked, disbelief warring with rising hysteria. I've taken care of this house, raised Luna. Taken care of the house, he scoffed, disdain dripping from every word. The only thing you've done is spend my money. Luna needs a better mother, a competent one. Not someone who only knows how to cry and complain like you. My voice rose. But all the property, this house, and Luna. Honey, you can't take them from me. I was screaming now, tears streaming. Marcus crouched down, his eyes filled with a hatred I'd never seen before. I can and I will. My lawyer has all the evidence gathered. You won't get anything, Ilera. You will leave this house without a single dollar. He stood, smoothing his suit, glancing towards the stairs to ensure Luna wouldn't hear. Then, he grinned, a chilling, venomous smile. And get ready, Ilera. My lawyer says even your own daughter will testify in court about how incompetent you are as a mother. I froze. Terror gripped me, shattering my heart into a million pieces. He didn't just want a divorce. He wanted to destroy me completely. I didn't sleep that night. After that cruel confrontation, Marcus had locked himself in the guest room. I sat in Luna's room, watching her peaceful face, my tears falling silently. How could he say Luna would testify against me? She was my world. What had they told my little girl? That thought tormented me more than any accusation against myself. The next morning, Marcus acted as if nothing had happened. He woke Luna, prepared her, and took her to school, not a word exchanged with me. When Luna asked why Mommy's eyes were puffy, he simply said with indifference, "Mommy isn't feeling well, princess." After they left, true terror set in. I had to fight. I couldn't give up Luna. I grabbed my phone, desperate, searching for renowned divorce lawyers. But the harsh reality hit me hard. Lawyers cost money, retainers, consultation fees. I had nothing. For years, Marcus had given me a monthly allowance, budgeted to the cent for groceries in Luna's school. There was no room to save. My only hope was our joint account, our family emergency fund. With trembling hands, I opened the banking app. My heart hammered as I entered the password. When the balance appeared, my legs gave out. Zero. It was at $0. It couldn't be. There should be hundreds of thousands in there. I refreshed, hoping for a system error. But 0.00 stared back at me. I opened the transaction history. My eyes widened in horror. For the past 6 months, Marcus had systematically withdrawn large amounts, transferring them to an account I didn't recognize. The last withdrawal had been just 3 days ago, emptying the rest. He had planned this. He wasn't just leaving, he had deliberately crippled me, financially, so I couldn't fight back. I cried in despair. How could I hire a lawyer without a single dollar? Then I remembered my wedding jewelry, heirlooms from my grandmother. I rushed to my room, opened my jewelry box. It was empty. Only a few imitation trinkets remained. Marcus had taken even those. In my desperation, I remembered an old friend who worked at a legal aid agency. I called her, sobbing out the whole story. She felt pity but couldn't do much, except give me a name. Mr. Davies, she said. He has a small office above an old strip mall. He's not expensive, but he's honest and dedicated. Go see him. Explain your situation. Maybe he can help. I had no other choice. With the last few dollars in my purse, I hailed a cab. Mr. Davies' office was exactly as described. Small, modest, peeling paint. He was a middle-aged black man with thick glasses and a calm, reassuring demeanor. He listened patiently, nodding occasionally, taking notes. When I finished, he sighed. A long, weary sound. Elara, this is going to be an uphill battle. Your husband has prepared this very thoroughly. He doesn't just want a divorce. He wants to destroy you. I know, Mr. Davies. I pleaded, my voice hoarse. But I don't care about the properties. I just want Luna. Please help me. I don't have money now, but I will pay you. I'll pay in installments. I'll do anything. He looked at me for a moment. Let's leave the money issue for later, Elara. What's important now is we move fast. This lawsuit has already been filed. We need to prepare a response immediately. He left and returned with a thick folder. Your husband's lawyer is Mr. Thorne. He's known for being sharp and not hesitating to use dirty tactics. I nodded, my heart pounding. Let's see what evidence they presented. He opened the folder. The first page was photographs. I gasped. Photos of our house. Dirty dishes piled high. Toys scattered in the living room. A full laundry basket. But this is unfair. I protested. These were photos he took when I was sick. I had a high fever for 3 days. And Marcus didn't help at all. He took them on purpose. Mr. Davies' expression was grim. Elara, I'm afraid this is manipulated to make you look like a lazy person who doesn't maintain the house. Next were credit card statements. A list of charges for luxury handbags, jewelry, expensive dinners. Things I'd never bought. That's not me. I didn't buy these. Was it an additional card in your name? He asked. Yes, Marcus managed it. He told me to use it, but he took it often, saying his main card had exceeded the limit. I felt the world spin. Oh my God, he set me up. Every small kindness, every seemingly innocuous gesture from Marcus had been part of his evil plan. Then Mr. Davies stopped at a thick document. And this is the most damaging thing, Elara. What is it? I whispered. The testimony of an expert witness, a child psychologist. He handed me the report, written in cold, clinical terms. It claimed the psychologist had conducted covert observations of my interactions with Luna. The conclusion, I was emotionally unstable, neglected Luna's needs, and was detrimental to her psychological development. It recommended full custody for Marcus for Luna's mental health. This makes no sense. My voice shook violently. When was this observation done? I never met a psychologist. According to this report, the observation was conducted in public places, at the park, the mall, and when you picked up Luna from school, Mr. Davies explained, his eyes fixed on mine. That's crazy. Luna always seemed happy with me. This is defamation. Who is this psychologist? He flipped to the cover. Her name is Dr. Serena. She seems very professional and convincing. He looked at me seriously. Elara, do you know this woman? I shook my head, bewildered, tears falling again. No, Mr. Davies. I don't know her. I've never seen her in my life. Living under the same roof with the man who planned to destroy me became a silent hell. Marcus hadn't left. He just moved into the guest room. Our once warm house now felt like a frozen battlefield with emotional landmines hidden in every corner. I had to live with my enemy, see him every morning, and pretend everything was normal for Luna. Marcus executed his strategy perfectly. In front of Luna, he was the best father in the world. He started coming home earlier, something he hadn't done in months. He brought expensive gifts. One night, he returned with a huge box featuring a cartoon princess. This is your new tablet, Luna, he exclaimed, hugging her. It's much better than the old one, a better camera, and Daddy installed lots of games. Luna's eyes shone. Wow, thanks Daddy. I, folding laundry in the living room, could only swallow hard, my heart aching. I knew what he was doing. He was buying our daughter's loyalty. I couldn't compete. I didn't have $1 to buy her anything. You see, Princess, Marcus said, looking at me with a sneer as he turned on the new tablet. When you live with Daddy later, you'll be able to buy a new toy every week. Unlike someone who only knows how to fold clothes. I stopped, a knot forming in my chest. I wanted to scream, to insult him, but not in front of Luna. If I got angry, it would only prove his accusation that I was emotionally unstable. So I just continued folding, head bowed, letting his poison fill the room. The psychological warfare continued daily. Marcus systematically undermined my authority. If I prepared dinner, he'd come into the kitchen, taste the food, and say in front of Luna, "Honey, the soup is a little salty again." "It's okay. Tomorrow we'll order takeout." If I helped Luna with homework, he'd interrupt. "Let me do it. The way Mommy teaches you is too complicated. You're going to get confused." I felt smaller and smaller, more invisible in my own home. I began to doubt myself. Did I cook badly? Was I incapable of teaching my daughter? Marcus played his role too well, making me seem inept. Luna, caught in the middle, started showing signs of confusion. She clearly loved me, but she also enjoyed her father's attention and gifts. Sometimes she clinged to me, seeking protection. Other times, she seemed uncomfortable, especially after Marcus whispered something to her. One sleepless night, I walked silently to Luna's room to check on her. I opened the door slightly. She was sleeping deeply. On her desk was the new tablet Marcus had bought her. But as I got closer to tuck her in, I saw something strange. Her small hand clutched something under her pillow. It wasn't her favorite teddy bear. I looked carefully. My heart skipped a beat. It was Luna's old tablet, the cheap one with the crack screen. The one I always told her not to play with for fear the glass might hurt her. I frowned. Why was she still keeping this broken tablet? Why hide it under the pillow when the new one was on her desk? I didn't understand. I dismissed it as a child's attachment to an old toy. I had no idea that broken tablet held a secret that would change everything. I returned to my room, more confused than ever. The climax arrived a few days later. I was waiting for Luna to return from school, having promised to bake her favorite chocolate cake. But an hour passed after dismissal. Then 2. Then 3. Luna didn't arrive. I called the school. They told me Marcus had picked her up. My heart sank. He hadn't told me anything. I called him repeatedly, no answer. I was almost crazy with worry, pacing, tears streaming. It wasn't until 9 p.m. that I heard his car. Luna entered, laughing, carrying a large bag of amusement park souvenirs. Behind her, Marcus walked calmly, a smug smirk on his face. "Where have you been, honey? Why did you take Luna without telling me?" I was dying of worry. I cried, my voice thick with tears and rage. "Daddy took me to Wonderland Park, Mommy. It was so much fun," Luna exclaimed happily. Marcus looked at me coldly. "So what? I'm her father. I have the right to take my own daughter. Besides, you weren't doing anything at home. But you should have told me, so you could ruin our fun with your drama." It was then I smelled it. A woman's perfume. Soft, unfamiliar, permeating Marcus's shirt. Not mine. Not his usual cologne. "Honey, you." Marcus followed my gaze. He knew I'd smelled it. He didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled. He waited for Luna to run to her room with her new toys. Alone, he approached me, his face close, his voice a venomous hiss. "Did you notice? Did you really think I was going to live forever with a woman as boring as you? You are nothing compared to her." I stumbled back, gasping. There was another woman. All of this, all the accusations, were just an attempt to get rid of me, to be with her. "Who is she?" I whispered. "None of your business. She's a successful, intelligent woman who knows how to please a man unlike you." That night, Luna came to my room. "Mommy, why are you crying?" I wiped my tears instantly. "I'm okay, Princess. My head just hurts a little." Luna looked at me with an unreadable expression. "Are you really sick, Mommy? Daddy says that since you're sick, you're often sad and angry." Daddy said if I go live with him later, Mommy will be able to rest and get better. My heart shattered. Marcus had been injecting poison into her little mind. He'd manipulated Luna into believing it was an act of kindness to leave my side because her mother was sick. I hugged her tight. Luna, listen to me. I am not sick. I just love you so much. I promise I won't get angry anymore. But the damage was done. I saw the hesitation in her eyes. Marcus, listening from the doorway, sneered in the darkness. He walked past me, still stunned, and tapped my shoulder, feigning sympathy. Enjoy your time, he mocked in my ear. Soon she won't even want to call you Mom. The mediation hearing was a cruel joke. We sat in a small, stuffy room. The mediator tried to find common ground. Mr. Davies began calmly. Marcus, Ilara doesn't ask for much. She only wants custody of Luna, or at least shared custody. Regarding property, we can talk. Before he could finish, Mr. Thorne, Marcus's lawyer, well-dressed and expensive, interrupted sharply. There is nothing to talk about. He slammed his file onto the table. Our client's position is clear. Ilara is the failed party in this marriage. It has been proven she failed in maintaining the home and raising the child. Our client demands full custody for Luna's future. Marcus sat beside him, a blank face, playing the victim. I only want the best for my daughter, he said, with a tone of fake sadness. Taking her mother away is the best for her. I trembled. Mr. Thorne chuckled. Ilara, if you keep insisting, we will take this to trial. And I assure you that all the evidence we have will humiliate you. The photos, the credit card statements, the expert testimony. You'd better sign this agreement. Our client is being benevolent by allowing you to leave the house without any countersuit. Leave my house with nothing and without Luna? Are you crazy? I screamed. The mediator tried to intervene, but Marcus and his lawyer were inflexible. The mediation broke down completely. Mr. Davies patted my shoulder as we left. Stay strong, Ilara. The real fight begins now. The first day of trial arrived. I had a knot in my stomach since morning. Mr. Davies reminded me to keep calm at all costs. The courtroom was cold, intimidating. High wooden walls, heavy chairs, the judge's gavel looking impossibly authoritative. Marcus sat opposite, confident with Mr. Thorne. The trial began. Mr. Thorne spoke fluently, his voice loud and sure. He presented his version of facts. Photos of the messy house, accusing me of being a lazy, dirty housewife. Credit card statements, accusing me of being wasteful and financially irresponsible. Your Honor, Mr. Thorne said dramatically, while my client, Marcus, worked hard to earn money, his wife was at home, wasting it and neglecting her daughter and her home. I wanted to scream that it was all a lie, that Marcus had set me up, used the card, taken photos when I was sick. But all I could do was clench my hands under the table. Mr. Davies stopped me with a reassuring look. When it was Mr. Davies' turn, he tried to refute. He explained the photos were taken out of context, the credit cards used by Marcus himself. But his argument sounded weak. It was my word against the physical evidence. The judge took notes, his expression unreadable. Then came the moment I feared most. The plaintiff calls his expert witness, Mr. Thorne announced. Dr. Serena, child psychologist. The courtroom door opened. A woman entered. I held my breath. She was beautiful, elegant, hair neatly pulled back, professional blazer, confident stride. She didn't look evil. She looked convincing. As she took her oath, I smelled it again, the same perfume that had permeated Marcus's shirt that night. My heart stopped. It was her, Marcus's mistress, posing as a child psychologist. Dr. Serena sat in the witness box. She spoke calmly, her diction clear, using psychological terms that sounded professional and impressive. Yes, Your Honor, she began, answering Mr. Thorne's question. I conducted observations of the natural behavior of Mrs. Ilara and her daughter, Luna, over the last 3 months. And what were your findings, Doctor? My findings were very concerning. I found a pattern of behavior in Mrs. Ilara that tends to be inconsistent and emotionally volatile. There are signs of significant emotional distress. Dr. Serena began to detail the lies, one by one, turning facts into deadly weapons. First observation. At a shopping mall, Mrs. Ilara pulled Luna forcefully, speaking to her loudly, which made Luna cry in fear in front of people. This shows a low capacity for emotional regulation. I closed my eyes. I remembered that day. Luna had almost thrown herself toward the wrong escalator. I had shouted and pulled her back in sheer shock. "Luna, be careful!" I wasn't angry. I was terrified she'd get hurt. But Dr. Serena had twisted it into verbal abuse. "Second observation in a park," she continued. Mrs. Alara seemed absorbed in her phone, ignoring Luna, who was playing alone. When Luna fell, Mrs. Alara didn't notice immediately. When she did, her reaction was exaggerated and tended toward hysteria, which further traumatized Luna about the fall. Another lie. I'd been texting about the grocery list Marcus had asked for. Luna tripped. I'd been genuinely scared, ran immediately, hugged and consoled her. My reaction was that of a concerned mother, not a hysterical one. "My conclusion," Dr. Serena said, staring at the judge with a steady voice, "is that Mrs. Alara does not have the stable emotional capacity to raise a 7-year-old girl. There are strong signs of parentification syndrome, where Mrs. Alara subconsciously projects her own unhappiness and emotional problems onto the child. For Luna's mental health, I strongly recommend full custody for the father, Mr. Marcus, who is the more stable figure." The room fell silent. Her testimony was powerful, scientific, destructive. I cried silently. "It's a lie," I whispered to Mr. Davies. "It's all a lie. She's Marcus's mistress. It's her." "Calm down, Alara," he replied tensely. "Don't react. That's what they want." Mr. Davies stood for cross-examination. He tried. "Dr. Serena, are you sure you can make such a serious diagnosis based solely on distance observations?" She smiled slightly. "On the contrary, counselor, natural observations without the subject being aware are the most accurate. There is no manipulation. It is pure, real behavior. You were paid by Mr. Marcus for this testimony, isn't that right?" "I was paid for my professional services, counselor, not for my conclusions. My conclusions are objective and based on data from the field," she retorted cleverly. Mr. Davies was at a dead end. She had dodged too well, covered all the holes. The trial adjourned. I left, my legs shaking, feeling utterly destroyed. I saw Marcus smiling, nodding to Dr. Serena, a look of satisfaction on his face. In the lobby, I leaned against the wall and sobbed. "We lost, Mr. Davies. We lost. They had everything." He remained silent for a moment, then stared at Marcus and Dr. Serena, who were walking together in the distance, discreetly separated, but not entirely far apart. "Not yet, Alara," he said in a low voice, eyes narrowed. "I know something is wrong." The way she looks at him when she thinks no one sees her is not how a professional psychologist looks at a client. He turned to me. "We have to find out who she really is." A few days before the next hearing, Mr. Davies called me to his office. He looked tired. The stack of papers on his desk seemed thicker. "Alara, I try to trace the woman's background," he stated bluntly. "The result is different from what we expected." My heart raced. "What do you mean?" "Her credentials are clean." "Too clean," he said, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "She's registered with the Psychological Association. She has a registered practice clinic. All documentation is perfect. Either she's a real psychologist Marcus hired to lie, or Marcus forged this entire identity very cleanly. The truth is, we cannot attack her by accusing her of being a fake psychologist. The court would dismiss our claim immediately. The brief hope I'd held vanished instantly. So we can't prove she's lying? No, we simply can't prove she isn't a psychologist. The only way is to refute her testimony. And that means you have to testify, Alara." He looked at me seriously. "You have to tell your whole side of a story about the photos, the credit cards, Marcus's behavior. And most importantly, you must not get emotionally upset. Mr. Thorne will definitely try to provoke you. He will want you to look hysterical in front of the judge, exactly as Dr. Serena described you." I nodded silently. "I will do it, Mr. Davies. I will try." The day arrived. It was my turn to sit on the witness stand. After being sworn in, Mr. Davies began with gentle questions, guiding me to tell my story as a housewife. I explained, my voice attempting to remain as calm as possible, how I left my job to care for Luna, detailing my routine from dawn until late. About the photos of the messy house, Ilara, can you explain the context? Mr. Davies asked. Yes, attorney. Those photos were taken by Marcus about 2 months ago. I was severely ill with a high fever for 3 days. At that time, I could barely get out of bed. I asked Marcus to take care of the household, but he said he was too busy with work, so the house got very messy. I didn't have the energy to clean. And about the credit card statements, he continued. It was an additional card in my name, but Marcus had it more frequently. He said his main card often reached the limit with business matters. I believed him. I never bought those luxury bags or that jewelry. I didn't know about those charges until I saw them in the lawsuit documents. I spoke honestly. I saw whispers in the gallery. Some looked at me with sympathy, but the judge remained silent, his face unreadable. Then came Mr. Thorne's turn. The cunning lawyer stood, smoothed his tie, and walked toward the witness stand with a sneer. Ilara, he began in a sickly sweet tone. So you mean to say that your husband, Mr. Marcus, who works hard and brings money home, set you up on purpose? Is that it? I stammered. I didn't say that. I just said what happened. But that sounds, the husband takes photos of the dirty house. The husband uses the credit card. Everything is the husband's fault. It seems that you are not to blame for anything. Are you perfect? Of course not. I'm not perfect, but I'm not a failure. Not a failure? Mr. Thorne scoffed. Ilara, you said you were sick when those photos were taken. Do you have any medical report proving you were gravely ill for 3 days? I remained silent. I didn't go to the hospital. I just took medicine from the pharmacy. I thought I would recover, so there is no proof. Mr. Thorne attacked quickly. It's just your word against real photographic evidence. Interesting. He moved to the credit cards. You say your husband used them, but the card is in your name. Did you ever inform the bank that the card was being misused? No. Did you ever reprimand your husband? No. You said nothing. Doesn't this prove you are negligent and financially irresponsible? Or does it mean you approved all the purchases? I trusted him. He was my husband. My voice rose. Blind trust, snapped Mr. Thorne. A trust that ruined the family finances. And now you blame your husband. I am not blaming. Mr. Thorne raised his hand, returned to his table, and picked up a large printed photo. He held it up for the judge and everyone to see. Your Honor, I request permission to present Exhibit P12. My eyes widened in horror. It was a photo of me in my bedroom, a few weeks before the divorce papers arrived. Hair disheveled, crying, screaming. Mrs. Ilara, can you explain this photo? Mr. Thorne asked with a triumphant tone. I trembled violently. Tears welled up again. Isn't this real proof of what Dr. Serena said? Volatile emotions. Hysteria. Is this the face of a competent mother? You don't understand. I wailed, tears pouring down. That night Marcus had just come home. He called me a useless wife. He said I was a burden. He insulted me. He said I didn't deserve to be Luna's mother. He provoked me. So you admit it? Mr. Thorne attacked without giving me a breath. You admit you screamed hysterically? You admit you lost control? You are emotionally volatile. Exactly as Dr. Serena described, right? No! I shouted, standing up from my chair. He set me up. He took the photo of me in secret after hurting me. He is a devil. Enough! The judge's gavel struck hard. Witness, calm down. Sit down. I sobbed, my shoulders shaking. I slumped back into my chair, destroyed. Everything was destroyed. I had behaved exactly as Marcus and Mr. Thorne wanted. I looked hysterical. Unstable. The image of the failed mother they had fabricated. I looked toward Marcus's side. He had his head bowed, a fake grimace of sadness, as if hurt by my instability. Mr. Thorne smiled smugly. The judge shook his head slowly. His expression was clear. He had already taken a side. That day's trial ended with my side's total destruction. Mr. Davies tried to console me, but I felt numb. It's over, Mr. Davies, I whispered weakly. That night was the longest of my life. The sentencing hearing was the next day. I knew I was going to lose. I was going to lose Luna. I went into Luna's room. She was already asleep. Marcus wasn't home, probably celebrating his victory with Dr. Serena in advance. I sat at the foot of the bed, stroking Luna's hair. My tears fell silently onto her cheek, and she stirred a little. "Mommy!" She opened her eyes, half asleep. Go back to sleep, princess," I whispered, my voice raw from crying. I hugged her tight. "Maybe this is the last hug as your full mother. I want you to know, whatever happens tomorrow, Mommy loves you very much. Always." Sensing my sadness, Luna hugged me back tightly. "I love you too, Mommy." I slowly undid the hug. It was then I saw it again. The corner of the old, cracked tablet, sticking out from under Luna's pillow. She was clutching it tightly, even in her sleep. I couldn't understand why she was so obsessed with that broken object. But that night, I was too destroyed to think deeper. I simply kissed my daughter's forehead and left to face the end of my world. The courtroom was colder than usual. The morning air was heavy, suffocating. I sat rigidly, my eyes puffy and empty. I hadn't slept all night. Beside me, Mr. Davies stared ahead, a somber expression on his face. He knew he'd done everything possible, but like me, we faced a giant wall. The atmosphere on the opposite side was different. Marcus looked fresh, confident in a new suit. He smiled occasionally, exchanging quiet jokes with Mr. Thorne. Victory was in his grasp. In the gallery, I saw Dr. Serena. Elegantly dressed in cream, she looked at me with a barely visible, victorious smile. The judge entered. The room fell silent instantly. My heart hammered. In the matter of the divorce petition, registry number, family court case number, the judge began formally. "Today's subject is the reading of the verdict, but before that, I request both parties present their closing arguments." Mr. Thorne stood first, summarizing his victory skillfully. "Your Honor," he said loudly, "during this trial, we have seen irrefutable evidence. The photographic proof showing Mrs. Alara's neglect of household tasks, the financial proof showing her irresponsibility, and most importantly, the testimony of the eminent child psychologist, Dr. Serena, who objectively and scientifically presented the defendant's emotional instability." Mr. Thorne pointed to me. "We even witnessed Mrs. Alara's hysterical conduct in this courtroom during the last trial, which supports Dr. Serena's diagnosis and is clearly recorded." He turned to Marcus. "On the other hand, we have Mr. Marcus, a capable father, financially successful, and above all, emotionally stable and genuinely concerned for his daughter's future. Your Honor, the choice here is very clear. It is not about punishing the wife, but about saving the child. For Luna's best interest, I beg you to grant full custody to our client, Mr. Marcus, and approve his request for division of assets." Mr. Thorne sat down with a smug smile. Now it was Mr. Davies' turn. He stood slowly, looked around the room without looking at the judge. "Your Honor," he began with a soft but firm voice, "what we have witnessed here is not proof. It is character assassination, a very well-planned defamation. Photos can lie. One can take a photo of the best chef's kitchen in the world at the wrong moment and make it look dirty. Statements can be manipulated, especially when one party has total financial control and the trust of the other. And the expert testimony, the testimony of an expert who only observed from a distance and drew radical conclusions from a few fragments of incidents out of context, is stronger than the deep maternal love a mother has accumulated over 7 years." Mr. Davies looked directly at Marcus. "Your Honor, we are not saving a girl. We are witnessing a greedy husband try to get rid of his wife, steal her assets, and cruelly take away the only thing that is most precious to her, her daughter. Alara is a good mother." His voice trembled slightly with emotion. "She's not perfect. No mother is. But she has dedicated her life to Luna. Do not allow this well-woven defamation to destroy that bond. I beg you to judge with conscience." Mr. Davies sat down. The room was silent. His argument had been excellent, emotional, but I knew it wasn't enough. His argument was based on belief. Mr. Thorne's was based on physical evidence and expert testimony. In the eyes of the law, the winner was already obvious. The judge cleared his throat, put on his glasses, and opened a thick file. This was the moment. Having reviewed all documents from both parties, heard all testimonies, and considered all evidence presented, the judge began, his tone expressionless. My heart shrank. "The court notes that the plaintiff, Mr. Marcus, has been successful in presenting significant evidence." I lowered my head, closed my eyes. First, the visual evidence, that is, the photographs, demonstrated the negligence of the defendant, Mrs. Alara, in household management. Every sentence was a knife cut. Second, the financial evidence demonstrated a considerable spending imbalance on the credit card in the defendant's name. And most damaging, the judge said, his voice sounding definitive, is the testimony of the expert witness, Dr. Serena, regarding Mrs. Alara's emotional state. This testimony was, unfortunately, reinforced by the defendant's own conduct in the last trial, providing the court with a very troubling image of the psychological environment for the child's growth. I began to cry silently. It was over. Marcus looked at me, a slight, cruel smile of victory appearing at the corner of his mouth. Dr. Serena, behind him, sat up straighter, ready to applaud. With all considerations mentioned above, and especially for the best interest and mental health of the minor, Luna, the judge raised his gavel, and I closed my eyes, ready to hear the sentence that would destroy my life. The court rules. Stop. The voice was small, but it cut through the silence of the courtroom, sharp and clear. Everyone turned their heads in unison. In the slightly open door at the back of the room stood Luna. She was alone, still in her school uniform. She had obviously snuck in. Marcus's face went from arrogance to shock and pure horror. Luna, what are you doing here? Get out of here, he shouted in panic. Guard. Luna. Sit down, princess. He tried again, his voice tense, but Luna didn't move. She walked into the courtroom, her small steps echoing on the marble floor. She didn't look at me, astonished, mouth agape. She didn't look at her furious father. She looked directly at the judge. The room, which had been silent awaiting the sentence, was now frozen. The gavel, about to fall, stopped in midair. The judge's eyes widened, looking at the little girl in the doorway. I turned, my heart falling out of my chest. Luna! I whispered in disbelief. What was my daughter doing here? Who had brought her? Marcus's reaction was the fastest. His face, a moment before full of arrogance and triumph, was now pale and bloodless. Pure terror in his eyes. Luna! He yelled, his voice rising, without the disguise of calm. What are you doing here? Get out of here. This isn't a playground. Guard. How can a child enter? Luna shrank at her father's scream, but she didn't back down. Instead, she walked deeper into the room. Luna, Daddy said, turn around and sit down. Marcus shouted again, half standing. His lawyer, Mr. Thorne, was also bewildered. He stood up and shouted at the judge, Your Honor, this is a procedural outrage. This trial is confidential. A minor should not be here and should not interrupt the proceeding. Order your staff to remove the child. I was still frozen, confused. A part of my mind shattered over the fact that Luna was in this horrible place. The other part trembled with fear. What was Luna going to say? Had Marcus succeeded in poisoning her completely? Would she tell the judge she preferred her father? The thought made me nauseous. Your Honor, out of consideration, Mr. Davies's voice rang out suddenly, stopping Mr. Thorne. This child has come with an obvious purpose. This is about her future. We cannot ignore her. The judge raised his hand, his face grave. Silence, everyone. His voice echoed. He stared at Marcus and Mr. Thorne, silencing their protests. Then his gaze turned to Luna, his expression softening. Luna approached slowly, her small steps echoing loudly on the silent marble. She stopped in the center, between the lawyers' tables. She looked directly at the judge, sitting on his high throne. Your Honor, Luna said, her voice trembling but clear. I'm sorry to interrupt. It's okay, Princess, the judge said, his tone more paternal. Why are you here? Who brought you? I came alone. My Annie brought me, but I snuck in. I heard my daddy say, my mommy is bad. Marcus's eyes went wide. Luna, watch your words. Silence, Mr. Marcus, the judge shouted. Let the child speak. I covered my mouth, tears flowing freely now. Luna swallowed, as if gathering courage. She looked at the judge again, her pure, clear eyes showing sincerity. Daddy said my mommy is bad. Daddy said my mommy gets very angry. Daddy said my mommy can't take care of me. She continued, her voice shaking slightly. I closed my eyes again. This was the end. Luna was going to repeat all of Marcus's lies. But then a sentence made me open my eyes. "But can I show you something?" Luna looked at the judge with pleading eyes. "Something my mommy doesn't know?" That phrase hung in the air. "Something my mommy doesn't know," I frowned. What did she mean? Mr. Thorne jumped up again. "Your Honor, this is absurd. A recording from a child cannot be used as evidence. This is an invasion of privacy, recorded without permission. That recording proves the lies of your expert witness, Mr. Thorne." Mr. Davies retorted sharply. "This is very intriguing. Enough arguing." The judge banged his gavel. His eyes, previously paternal, now shone intensely. He sensed there was a big lie. "Clerk, help this child. Connect that device to the court monitors right now." "No!" Marcus screamed desperately. He gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. "I object, Your Honor. This is a setup." "Your objection is noted, Mr. Marcus. Now sit down," the judge ordered. A clerk approached Luna quickly and carefully took the cracked tablet. He looked for a cable, and moments later, the large monitor screens on the courtroom wall went black, then showed Luna's tablet home screen. Marcus covered his face. Dr. Serena, behind him, seemed to shake violently. Luna, standing next to the clerk, looked at the screen. She didn't look at me or Marcus. She was focused on her mission. "This one," she pointed to a video file in the gallery. The clerk clicked on it. A video thumbnail appeared. "Go ahead, princess," said the judge. "Play the video." Luna stretched out her small index finger. She pressed the play button. The video started. The large monitor screen flickered. The shot was slightly shaky and tilted. The angle was low, as if recorded from behind something. A quiet laugh was heard. "It's our living room," I whispered, recognizing the sofa and the large plant pot in the corner. The video seemed to have been taken from behind that pot, where Luna often hid playing hide-and-seek. And then two figures entered the recorded shot. Marcus and Dr. Serena. Not Serena in her professional blazer, but Serena in fine, comfortable loungewear. Her hair was down. Marcus entered, laughing, and immediately hugged her from behind, kissing her neck. "Oh my God!" A muffled exclamation was heard throughout the room in unison. I froze, breath caught in my throat. So the perfume, my suspicions, everything was true. The woman who gave false testimony to ruin me was the same one sleeping with my husband in my house. On the other side, Mr. Thorne stared at the monitor, mouth agape. He turned to Marcus with a look of horror, as if saying, "You never told me this." In the gallery, Dr. Serena lowered her head, trying to hide her face. And then the voices of the figures in the video were heard clearly in the silence of the courtroom. Dr. Serena's voice. "Are you sure your plan will work? Your wife is so stupid." Marcus's voice, laughing with certainty. "Stupid and submissive. She won't suspect anything. All the money has already been transferred to your account, baby." "Are you sure?" "My legs failed. My money, my joint account, transferred to her account." "Oh God," Mr. Davies murmured beside me, his eyes fixed on the screen. The video continued. Marcus sat on the sofa and pulled Dr. Serena onto his lap. Marcus's voice. "Once the verdict comes out tomorrow, I will officially get custody of Luna. We will sell this house from hell immediately and move to Switzerland, far away from her." Dr. Serena's voice. "But Luna seems very attached to her mother." This was the part that hurt me most. I held my breath, waiting for Marcus's answer. Marcus's voice, disdainful. "Oh, the kid is easy to handle. Just give her a new tablet, and she'll forget her mother. You will be her new mother. A smarter, more successful, and much sexier mother." Marcus kissed Dr. Serena passionately in the video. "Enough! Turn it off!" Marcus screamed in rage. He jumped from his chair, trying to run toward the clerk's table to stop the video. "Officers, restrain him," the judge shouted with anger. The two security guards guarding the door moved immediately. They overpowered Marcus before he could advance, bending his arms behind his back. Marcus twisted like an animal in a trap. "Let me go. It's not true. It's manipulated," he screamed desperately. "Silence him," ordered the judge. "Continue the video. I want to see it to the end." The video continued playing, oblivious to the chaos. Now it was Dr. Serena's turn to speak. Dr. Serena's voice. I'm still a little worried. What about my testimony as a psychologist? What if Alara's lawyer refutes it with his observations? Marcus's voice, laughing again. I already prepared. I recorded her last week when she cried hysterically. Remember, I will provoke her again at the trial. I will insult her until she explodes. She will scream and cry in front of the judge. I sobbed. I remembered my testimony, the photo, my screams. He set me up. Marcus's voice. Once she gets hysterical, your testimony will seem perfect. The judge will see for himself that she is an unstable, crazy woman. No one will believe her. They will believe Dr. Serena, the professional. The video finally showed Marcus and Dr. Serena toasting with wine glasses, laughing. Then it ended. The screen went black. The room remained silent for a few seconds. The only sounds were my sobs and Marcus's panting under the guard's control. Everyone, the judge, the clerks, the gallery, and even Mr. Thorne, stared at the black screen in horror. They had just witnessed a meticulously planned, evil conspiracy, fraud, perjury, money laundering, and manipulation of the court. In the gallery, some people began to turn, looking for Dr. Serena. There she is. It's the woman, someone shouted. Dr. Serena realized she was completely exposed. In panic, she jumped from her seat and ran toward the back exit. Luna, the little heroine who had just played the video, turned her head. She didn't look at Marcus, who was subdued. She looked at me, her pure eyes meeting mine, which were filled with tears. The judge, face red with rage, raised his gavel high. He didn't drop it in silence. He banged it hard on the desk. Silence, everyone. The court resumes. Officers, close all exits. No one leaves. Arrest that woman, Dr. Serena. Immediately, the room fell into controlled chaos. The bang of the furious judge's gavel was both an order and a release of the tension that had frozen everyone. The two security guards who had subdued Marcus now dragged him to a chair. He wasn't screaming anymore. He was simply gasping, his eyes frantic, his expensive suit soaked in sweat. He knew it was over. At the back door, another commotion. Dr. Serena, in panic, couldn't open the large door the judge had just ordered closed. She pulled and pushed in vain. A female officer intercepted her quickly. Dr. Serena collapsed on the floor. Her professional mask had completely fallen. She was no longer the calm, convincing psychologist. She was just a scared woman crying hysterically, exactly the image she had used to frame me. Karma had arrived, swift and cruel. Bring her here, ordered the judge, his voice cold and unforgiving. Officers dragged the sobbing Dr. Serena to the front and sat her in the witness stand, which now felt like the defendant's bench. Across the room, Mr. Thorne looked like a melting wax doll. His face was pale, his tie crooked. He no longer looked at the judge. He looked at the stack of papers in front of him, without an answer. His career and reputation had been destroyed in an instant by a video from a child's broken tablet. He knew he was implicated. He might not have known about the affair, but he knew about the manipulated photo evidence and the testimony prepared to frame me. I was still sitting, trembling. My sobs had calmed, replaced by frozen shock. Beside me, Mr. Davies gave me a gentle pat on the back, but his eyes stared fixedly at the judge, ready for the final blow. Luna stood silently next to the clerk. She was the center of calm in the storm, watching me, as if making sure I was okay. The judge took a deep breath and smoothed his robe. He looked at Marcus, at Dr. Serena, and then at Mr. Thorne. Mr. Marcus, the judge began, his voice quiet but terrifying. That video is the property of your daughter and was recorded in your own home. Do you still want to insist that it is manipulated? Marcus raised his head, his face empty. She set me up, he muttered. It was a last, pathetic attempt. That woman, Dr. Serena, planned everything. She seduced me. Hearing this, Dr. Serena screamed immediately. Liar! You told me to do it. You told me you would marry me. You told me you would transfer all the money to my account. I did all this for you. Silence! The judge banged his gavel again. Both are the same. Your confessions have already been recorded in the court record. The judge turned to Dr. Serena. Miss Serena, you sat on the stand under oath and gave false testimony. You used your professional credentials to destroy a mother's life and aid in a crime. You not only violated your code of ethics, but you committed perjury before this court. The judge looked at Mr. Thorne. And Mr. Thorne, did you know, or should you have suspected that the evidence you presented, including this testimony, was false? You tried to provoke the witness in the last trial to fit your client's false narrative. You have disgraced this profession. I will have the Ethics Committee revoke your law license. Mr. Thorne bowed his head, unable to say anything. Finally, the judge looked at Marcus. His gaze was so piercing it seemed to flay the man alive. Mr. Marcus, you entered this courtroom demanding justice. You accused your wife of failure, accused her of instability, demanded her assets, and most heinous of all, demanded to separate a child from her mother. The judge lifted Marcus's lawsuit file and held it up. Let's review your lawsuit first. The accusation that the wife failed and neglected the home, proven false. The video just demonstrated that you conspired to defame her. The judge threw a sheet from the file to the floor. Second, the accusation that the wife was financially irresponsible and wasteful, proven false. The video is a confession that you stole money from your joint account and transferred it to your mistress's account. This isn't just defamation, it is theft. He threw the second sheet. Third, the accusation that the wife was emotionally unstable, backed by false expert testimony, proven as a blatant scheme. The video proves you conspired to provoke your wife, record her in secret, and use it to deceive this court. He threw the third sheet. Your entire lawsuit, the judge's voice rose, thundering through the room, is a pile of garbage based on lies, greed, and adultery. The court dismisses entirely the divorce petition presented by Mr. Marcus. The gavel struck hard, but the judge wasn't finished. He looked at Mr. Davies and me. The court will not stop here. Based on this new, irrefutable evidence, the court rules to protect the victim. 1. The judge raised a finger. Full custody of the minor, Luna, is granted unconditionally to her biological mother, Mrs. Alara. I gasped. The tears now flowing were of pure, overwhelming relief. I looked at Luna. 2. The judge continued. Mr. Marcus's divorce suit has been dismissed. However, the court suggests that Mrs. Alara file a countersuit right now. Mrs. Alara, do you wish to divorce your husband? Mr. Davies whispered to me. With a trembling but firm voice, I looked directly at Marcus, who was now defeated, head bowed. Yes, Your Honor. I demand a divorce right now. Good, exclaimed the judge. The court grants the divorce to Mrs. Alara on the grounds of adultery and fraud by the husband. Full custody to Mrs. Alara. 3. The judge stood up. Now, all assets in the name of Mr. Marcus and Miss Serena will be frozen immediately. The court orders a full investigation to trace all funds stolen from Mrs. Alara. The house currently occupied is declared total property of Mrs. Alara and Luna. And 4. The judge's voice now resonated throughout the room. Based on the video evidence and the confessions in this room, I order the immediate arrest of Mr. Marcus and Miss Serena for multiple criminal offenses, including conspiracy to commit fraud, perjury, domestic theft, and tampering with evidence in a court of law. Take them away! The security guards immediately handcuffed Marcus. The man who had entered that morning with arrogance was now taken out with his head bowed. He walked past me. He didn't dare look me in the eye. Dr. Serena was also handcuffed. Her screams dried up, leaving only a puffy, messy face. She was dragged away. Her career and her freedom were gone. I was still sitting, trembling. Mr. Davies smiled from ear to ear. We won, Alara. We won. I couldn't speak. I simply stood up and walked slowly toward the center of the room. Luna ran toward me. I knelt and hugged her tightly, as if embracing my savior. I cried on her small shoulders. Not tears of sadness, but tears of a mother saved by her little heroine. The aftermath of Judgment Day spread like wildfire. The story of the broken tablet made headlines everywhere. The story of the greedy husband, the fake psychologist, and the 7-year-old heroine dominated local news for weeks. The first few weeks were a blur for Luna and me. Mr. Davies took care of everything. By order of the judge, all of Marcus and Dr. Serena's assets were frozen. The investigation proved that Marcus had transferred nearly $1 million to Dr. Serena's account over the last year. All the money was seized and returned to my new account. The big, cold house was now officially mine. But I couldn't stay there anymore. Too many bad memories. Too many shadows of Marcus and Dr. Serena in every corner. With Mr. Davies' consent, I sold the house. The proceeds from the sale were more than enough to start a new life. The punishment for the villains was swift and severe. Given the overwhelming evidence, Marcus was sentenced to 12 years in prison for fraud, theft, and perjury. Dr. Serena, whose psychologist credentials turned out to be real but criminally used, was sentenced to 8 years, and her license to practice was permanently revoked. The cunning Mr. Thorne was immediately disbarred by the Ethics Committee and faced criminal charges for his participation in the conspiracy. Karma had been paid in full. 3 months after that judgment day, the laughter of children was heard in a small, green park. I, Alara, with the weight of worry gone from my face, smiled as I watched Luna on the swing. We had moved not to a big house, but to a modest and cozy 3-bedroom apartment. It was full of photos of us, and smelled of the cookies I had baked. I had started a small catering business from home. My culinary skills, which Marcus always belittled, were now praised by many. Orders were coming in. I was busy and tired, but happy. I was independent. "Mommy, look!" Luna ran toward me, her hands dirty with soil. "The flowers are going to bloom soon." I smiled, stroking Luna's short hair. "Wow, my daughter is very good at planting things." We sat side by side for a while, enjoying the afternoon sun. There was a question I hadn't had the chance to ask calmly. "Princess," I began softly, "can I ask you something?" "What, Mommy?" Luna looked at me with clear eyes. "The video on the old tablet, why? Why did you record it?" Luna was silent for a moment, as if remembering. "Because I didn't like Auntie Serena." "Why didn't you like her?" "Auntie Serena pretended to be nice. Smiled at Mommy and talked to you at the mall. But when Mommy went to the bathroom, she told Daddy, 'Your wife takes too long.' And in the park, too. She saw me, but she told Daddy that Mommy wasn't watching me. But Mommy was watching me. I was amazed. My little daughter was a sharp observer. And that night," Luna continued, "Daddy said he was working late, but I heard his car come back. I wanted to show Daddy my new drawing. But when I went down, I saw Daddy come in with Auntie Serena. Daddy hugged her right away. I got scared, so I hid behind the flower pot. So I recorded there. Yes, I used the old tablet to record. I remembered Mommy said that if there are bad people, there must be proof, and I had the old tablet with me." My heart warmed. I had forgotten I had said that. "But Princess," I asked, this was the most important question, "why didn't you tell Mommy? Why did you keep it a secret?" Luna interrupted, her voice low. "Daddy said Mommy shouldn't know." I frowned. "Daddy told you that?" "Yes. In the video, Daddy told Auntie Serena, 'My wife is stupid. She won't know.' Luna thought it was a big secret because Daddy said Mommy shouldn't know, so I kept it. I didn't want Daddy to get mad if Mommy found out. It was the pure, innocent logic of a child. She had aggravated her father's crime, but she had kept it secret because her own father had told her her mother shouldn't know. "So why did you show it in court?" I asked, my voice catching. "Because the judge was going to take Luna away from Mommy. Daddy said Mommy was bad. And Auntie Serena also said Mommy was bad. And that's not true." Luna had tears in her eyes. "I don't want to be separated from Mommy. Mommy isn't bad. Mommy is the best mom. So I had to show the judge that Daddy and Auntie Serena are the bad ones." I couldn't hold back anymore. I hugged Luna tightly, crying tears of joy. For all this time, I had suffered Marcus's accusations that I was a failed mother. I had doubted myself, felt destroyed. But before me was the strongest proof that I hadn't failed. I had raised an incredible daughter, a pure, sharp girl who could distinguish truth from falsehood. A brave girl with the courage to act alone to protect her mother. A girl with a pure sense of justice. "Thank you, Princess," I whispered into her hair. "Thank you for saving me." Luna hugged me. "I love you, Mommy." "I love you too, Luna." I undid the hug and looked at my daughter's bright face. Finally, I understood. I had never failed. I had just been raising a heroine, and now both of us were free for a new beginning. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to fight such an unfair battle? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.